Welcome back, overemployed, ambitious go-getters. Today, I have a special video for you guys. It's gonna be a long one, so get some food, get some popcorn, maybe a coffee, and let's get focused here. So, why do most people stay broke, right? Start at the very bottom here. Why do most people stay broke? It's not for the lack of effort. People hustle, they work two jobs, they even try to save a little, but they misunderstand what wealth really is. They confuse having money with creating wealth. Once I was out and a cab driver once complained to me about the rising prices and said, rich people are just lucky they have more money than us. Wrong. Rich people don't simply have more money, they own things that make money. The driver was grinding, what, 60 hours a week for fares, trading time for dollars. Meanwhile, the Uber executives who built the platform collect a few bucks from every single ride without lifting a finger. The driver works harder physically, the execs get richer. This pattern repeats everywhere. Your landlord isn't laboring 40 hours in your apartment, right? But the property pays them rent 24/7. Jeff Bezos isn't personally packing your Amazon order, but he owns a system that profits each time you click buy now. The majority of people live in what I call a survival mode. They see money as scarce, hard to get, and easy to lose. They operate with a scarcity mindset, essentially a financial survival instinct. Money here is viewed as a necessity, that's why it's always in short supply, something that you compete for and kind of hoard. When you think you feel stuck because every dollar you earn is tied to a dollar's worth of your sweat, it's in fact nearly 60% of Americans that can't even cover a $1,000 emergency expense from savings. We are, as one analyst put it, essentially a paycheck to paycheck nation. That's the harsh reality of our life at the bottom of the pyramid, right? And I know some of you guys could actually kind of relate to that, which is the opposite of what I want for you guys. So, what's really going on here? Most people stay broke because they never climb beyond the lowest levels of financial thinking. They spend their whole lives trading time for money, time for money, time for money, and maybe worrying about saving little of what they earn. They don't really try to like build assets. They are the asset being used by someone else. They haven't really learned to kind of leverage skills, systems, ownership, or identity, the higher levels of the pyramid itself. So in short, they're playing a game that they can't win because the game is designed to keep them running in one place forever. So now I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through the 5 levels of the money period. And as I go through each level, and you gotta kind of find yourself here. Be honest, which level are you really operating at right now? I'll show you the ceiling of each level and why you get stuck there, and exactly what it takes to level up to the next level here. Okay? So, level one, survival mindset. Time is equal to money. So this is the survival mindset, and time equals money is the most, it's literally what it means there, right? So in the most literal sense possible. So if you're at this level, you believe the only way to make more money is to work more hours, right? Whether that's an Uber job, you're a pizza delivery driver, you work at McDonald's, you work as a software engineer, literally anything where time is equal to money. Every hour of your life has a price tag. You might be living paycheck to paycheck, doing whatever it takes to cover rent and groceries. Your core belief is money is scarce, and you have to sacrifice time to earn it. So now let's kind of think about what the core beliefs at level one is. So I only get paid when I'm physically working. Money comes from labor, period. So you think of your time as your only currency. This often comes from a fear-driven approach. You're turning down a shift or taking a day off kind of feels dangerous because it means you're taking less pay. Honestly, I'll just be honest here. So my mom, for example, doesn't work the best job. She always goes like, "Hey, I can't miss a day. My paycheck's gonna be less, right? Next paycheck we get." And the way I think, I'm like, who cares? Like, who gives a shit, right? So this is kind of the way that most people kind of operate. Time is equal to money. People are in survival mode often, and they always say that I can afford to, again, get sick or take a vacation. And that's just a really sad reality to live in, right? Because if they're not working, no income is coming in. So what are the behaviors at this level, right? So likely you're going to be working long hours. Think of Amazon software engineers. They kind of have a culture where the longer you work, the better. And if you go home early, it's kind of frowned upon and you look like kind of a loser. So obviously you don't want that. So you're working long hours, you're working multiple jobs just to survive. Survive. Keyword is survive. Come on now. If you're doing all this stuff, you want to be riding in your Lamborghini. You want to be coming home to your multi-million-dollar house that has 5 washrooms, 5 bedrooms, luxury, right? but you're doing this just to survive. You trade away evenings, weekends, family time for overtime or side gigs. Rest feels like lost income essentially. So you might spend a lot of mental energy figuring out how to save a few dollars on groceries or bills because every dollar saved is more breathing room. There's a constant background stress about money. You're fighting fires, an unexpected car repair, or medical bill, and this could all be a crisis. In this mindset, you're just trying to get through the month itself. Investing or wealth building sounds like a fantasy when the immediate bills are due. So, what is the ceiling of level one? Let's kind of jump into that a little bit. The hard truth here is that time is a finite resource. There are only 24 hours in a day, and you can only work so many of them. Your income has a hard cap when it's tied to hours. So if you're making 10 bucks an hour, right, and you're working 8-hour shift, that's $80 before taxes. 80 bucks. And you can't make more than that. I mean, unless you work overtime, right? But you have a life aside from that as well. So even if you somehow get paid $100 an hour, let's just keep it at that for now. Far above what the minimum wage or level one jobs even pay, working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let's just pretend you're a robot here, okay? You'd make about $11,000 in a week and you'd be absolutely burnt out doing it. And most people in survival are nowhere near $100 an hour. Probably what? You're a software engineer making about 40 bucks an hour, right? Give or take. Minimum wage worker, I don't know, what is it, like 18 bucks? I don't even know what minimum wage is. So that's good. That's a good start for me right now, right? So they might be earning what, 15 bucks an hour, 20, maybe minimum wage. The math just doesn't allow for big financial growth. More work is equal to more hours, equals to faster burnout. There's no scaling here, no multiplying your effort. You grind until you're exhausted or out of hours. This is a game you cannot win. If you try to push beyond the 24-hour limit, you sacrifice health, relationships, sanity, and eventually your productivity crashes. It's a vicious cycle that keeps you trapped. So how do you break out? How do you go on to level two? To move up from level one, you must realize that your time can be more valuable. Instead of simply working more hours, you need to earn more per hour by developing your skills or expertise. In other words, invest in your own abilities so you're not competing on brute labor alone. At this stage, it might mean learning a trade, going to school, or just getting really good at something that people pay more for. It's about shifting from any hour or of work for money to a skilled hour for more money. Mentally, it's deciding that you won't stay stuck at a substance amount of wage. You begin to see your knowledge, skill, and specialization can increase your earning power beyond the basic hourly grind. When you adopt this mindset, you're stepping into the next level here. Let's go ahead and jump there. Level two, worker mindset. Skills is equal to money, not time. Skills is equal to money. So level two is the worker mindset. And this is where essentially skills is equal to money. Here you've kind of learned that not all labor is equal. A more skilled hour earns more than an unskilled one. So if you're at this level, you believe that income is determined by your skills, education, or expertise. Time is still a factor. You likely still work for a wage or a salary, but you can charge more for each hour because you're bringing in specialized value. So what are the core beliefs at level two, right? Let's start with, if I develop valuable skills, I'll make more money. You might think, for example, if I get that degree or certification, I can get a better paying job. There's a belief in just having that working smarter, not just harder mindset, right? That's the key here. You equate your personal improvement with financial improvement. There's often pride in professionalism, so you strive to be the best doctor, lawyer, engineer, craftsman, so you can command a higher income. Essentially, you see your skills as your economic engine. So what do you guys think the behaviors here will be, right? So you invest time in education or training. So going to university. Maybe you went to college, learned a trade, or put in years of practice to climb from an entry-level position to a higher role. You read, you train, you get better. In the workplace, you likely focus on being very good at what you do. You seek promotions, raises, maybe hop to a higher paying job as your skills grow. So you might be salaried, you might be a salaried professional or a higher paid contractor or freelancer. Perhaps you earn an income that to someone at level one looks, quotations, rich, but you know you're still trading your expertise for money every single day. You're the attorney building $300 an hour, the software developer with a six-figure salary, the skilled tradesperson charging a premium for quality work. You probably have a better lifestyle and more financial stability than a level one person, but you work extremely hard. And your work may demand a lot out of you, working long hours at the law firm, on-call nights at the hospital, etc., etc. So what is the ceiling of level two? So the worker mindset can be financially rewarding up to a single point, but it still has a ceiling. Why? because even though your skills earn more per hour, you're still one person with one brain and one pair of hands. There are still 24 hours in a day, and you're still likely using a lot of them. Many skilled professionals hit burnout. Think of the overworked lawyer, the doctor seeing 40 patients a day, the consultant flying city to city with no personal life. More money, yeah, but often no freedom. Also, there's a paradox: the better and faster you get, the less you earn, unless you kind of continually raise your prices. A freelancer who doubles her efficiency might finish projects in half the time, which means she charges more by the hour. She actually makes less for the same work unless she hikes her rate. So you can kind of raise your rates if you're excellent, but there are practical limits and market limits to that. So to rise to level 3, you must undergo a critical mindset shift. And what is that mindset shift here, right? It's from I do the work to it gets done, even not by me. This is the beginning of leverage. To move up, start asking, how can I scale my results beyond my own effort? How can I make money even when I'm not personally doing the work? This might mean delegating tasks to others, automating parts of your job, or creating a process that allows you to handle more output than one person normally could. For a freelancer, it could mean hiring an assistant or using software to handle routine work. For a professional, it might mean moving into management where you oversee others, using your expertise to guide a team rather than doing everything yourself. The key is realizing systems and people can multiply your productivity. You stop being just a doer and start being a designer or a leader of the work. This leap is honestly, it's pretty big. It's moving from being a highly paid player to being a coach or a builder of the machine. And this is going to lead us to number 3. Level number 3, leverage mindset. So systems is equal to money. You guys probably see a pattern here, right? Level 3 is the leverage mindset, and now systems is going to equal to money. At this level, you understand to truly expand your earning potential, you need to stop doing everything yourself and start building systems that work for you. The core idea of leverage is simple. Find ways to get more output for each unit of input. Instead of 1 hour of your work producing, let's say 1 hour of results, maybe 1 hour of your planning can coordinate 10 hours of other people's work. Or set up a process that yields value even while you sleep. Rich people love leverage. It's one of their secret weapons. To get other forces to do the work, whether it's technology, media, capital, or people. So you guys might be asking, what are the core beliefs at level 3? Over here, it's going to be I can make money independently of my own time by using systems, tools, or other people. Someone at this level believes that working smarter means setting up mechanisms that generate income with less direct effort from them. They think in terms of processes and multiplication. So, for example, I don't have to manually do X every time. I can create a system or hire or train someone to do X at a scale, right? So, honestly, let's think of a real world example. So, if you're running a company, let's say you're running an AI company, and you get a project that comes in, and let's say you're managing about 10 projects, and you're the only person working at your company, right? Let's say they're going to offer you about $10,000 to create a chatbot. And you know you can do this. Maybe it'll take you a week to build, right? Or you can just hire someone, let's say on Fiverr or someone that you trust for a fraction of the price, maybe $2,000 to build what you have to build, right? So now you're going to do zero amount of the work, meaning you have more time in the day. You're still going to get paid $8,000, but you just give 2K to the person building the chatbot for you now. So this is what I'm kind of getting at here, right? So what are the behaviors at level 3? This is where you see people building businesses, teams, or automated processes. Maybe you start a small company because you realize being your own boss with a team allows you to multiply your efforts. Or if you're a coder, you can create an app or a software that can be sold or used by many. So your one-time coding effort keeps paying off. If you're a content creator, you make a YouTube video or an online course that thousands can watch. You record at once and it delivers value and income repeatedly. So cat's out the bag. This is what I'm kind of trying to do now, right? So maybe even I'm at level 3, right? So people at this level often invest in tools. They pay for software, machines, or infrastructure that let them do more with less labor. They also delegate if they're still in a job, that they're the manager who's great at getting the best out of a team rather than doing it all themselves. So you guys get the point, right? Systems is equal to money in this case. So what's the ceiling at level 3? So the leverage mindset can create a serious income and even true wealth, but it also has its challenges. A system is powerful, but it introduces complexity and risk. Not every system scales infinitely, right? So your business might grow, but perhaps it's limited by the market size or management capability. You might leverage a team, but managing people comes with headaches and coordination limits. You might leverage technology, but tech can be sometimes obsolete, or even face competition. There's also the fact that at level 3, ownership starts to matter more here. You can be a brilliant CEO running a huge company. By the way, that's leverage. You're leveraging labor and capital. But if you really don't own a stake in that company, you're still effectively an employee, a well paid one, but not financially free in the way an owner would be. So now we're going to go ahead and tackle ownership next in level 4. So still, generally, the ceiling at level 3 is far higher than level 2, and many millionaires are made at level 3 by founding successful systems or businesses. So, how do you move up? To reach level 4, you need to start thinking like an owner. This means not just creating and running systems, but holding equity in them. And at level 3, so let me just quickly go through the 4 types of leverage. So we said labor leverage, capital leverage, code leverage, and media leverages. These are the 4 main ones here, right? Also kind of have to keep in mind here. So there is a way to kind of incorporate all 4 of these with each other, right? So if you're hiring people, that means you're managing teams to multiply output, right? You can combine this with code leverage, right? So code tech, permissionless, and infinitely scalable. So you can hire a team of developers, right? You can add the media leverage to those labor leverage, code leverage, and capital leverage, right? So you can kind of combine things in different ways you want here. So level 4, the owner mindset. Equity is equal to money. Equity is equal to money. So this is a fundamental shift. You're now seeing owning assets as the key to wealth. Equity means having a piece of the pie, whether it's ownership in a company, property, intellectual property, or any asset that can be appreciated or generate income. At this level, you'd rather have a smaller slice of a huge pie. So than 100% of a tiny pie you bake yourself. So you understand that salary and wages will never make you truly rich, but ownership can. So what are the core beliefs at level 4? I don't just want income, I want assets, I want equity. A person at this level thinks in terms of ownership stakes and shares of the upside. They believe that financial freedom comes from owning things that increase in value or produce income on their own. For example, instead of I make X amount of dollars per year, they think I own X amount of percentage of a business, or I own these 5 rental properties, or I own an intellectual property like patents or books that pay me royalties. There's a belief that wealth can grow while you sleep because your assets are working for you, not just your hands. They also kind of often believe in delayed gratification and upside, that they'll take equity in lieu of higher immediate pay because they know the equity can be worth far more later. A level 4 mindset is encapsulated by a famous principle from the investor Naval Ravikant. So, what is this? You will not get rich renting out your time. You must own equity and something to gain your financial freedom, right? So, this is the gospel at level 4. Behaviors at level 4. This is where people become entrepreneurs, investors, and asset collectors. If you're at this level, you might start or co found a business and make sure you own a big chunk of it. Or you negotiate for stock options in a startup rather than a higher salary. So you take the profits from your work and buy assets. Stock, real estate, ownership in other businesses, maybe cryptocurrency, or anything that you will believe will appreciate. You probably diversify your asset base too. So because you understand concentration, we're spreading bets. People at level 4 often have multiple income streams, most of which come from investments or ownership positions. Maybe rental income, dividends from stocks, profit share from a business. And importantly, you guard these assets and reinvest more than you consume. For example, a level 4 business owner will pay themselves modestly and plow earnings back into the growing company, which increases the value of their equity. Or an investor at the level might live off some returns, but always reinvest a chunk to keep the compounding going. So you guys are probably asking, what is the ceiling at level 4? The owner mindset can make you honestly genuinely pretty rich. This is where network can kind of skyrocket into the millions and beyond. For instance, many ordinary people become millionaires by simply buying and holding equity, so like stocks or real estate, over years, while pure salary workers often just saved a bit but never got that big windfall growth, right? Owning equity is so powerful that 88% of millionaires are business owners, entrepreneurs, not employees. So that statistic isn't really a fluke. It underscores that few people ever truly get rich solely from paycheck. When you own equity, there's no upper limit. Your asset can double, 10x, 100x in value. However, there's always one level. There's one more level because wealth is not just an external game, it's an internal game too. The ceiling at level 4 is not about money, but about mindset and identity. So, how do you really move up from level 4 to level 5? It's less about tactics and more about transformation. It's about developing a mindset and identity that that can handle abundant wealth. Concretely, this means educating yourself not just on making money, but on preserving and growing it responsibly. It means surrounding yourself with people who are at a high level of success, so that becomes your new normal. You start to think about your legacy and long term impact. You might seek out mentors who are already multimillionaires or billionaires to understand how they think. Level 5. So, wealth identity is basically being is equal to money, right? So, what does this really mean? It means that your identity is equal to money, or rather, wealth is an intrinsic part of your identity. This is the top of the pyramid. At this level, being wealthy is just a part of who you are and how you navigate life. It's an identity shift as much as a financial state. So when you have a wealth mindset, you think, decide, and act fundamentally differently than those at lower levels. So think people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and any of those multi like trillionaires at this point, right? So you're playing a different game altogether, one that often seems invisible or incomprehensible to people stuck in levels 1 to 3. So you can't even grasp this if you're in levels 1 to 3 right now. So core beliefs at level 5. I am a person who creates and holds wealth. It's what I do. It's in my nature. So this isn't really arrogance if you're thinking that. It's a deep-seated internalization that making money and growing money are natural and expected. People at this level see opportunities everywhere. They assume abundance. They operate with confidence and conviction in their financial moves because they trust their knowledge and their network. A wealth mindset also believes in infinite upside. There's always a bigger pie to create. Wealth is positive sum, so one person's wealth can be created without taking it from others by creating value, right? Behaviors at level 5. At this stage, nearly everything you do aligns with wealth building. Often effortlessly, you maintain the habits that grow wealth. So how are we actually achieving this, right? So you'll likely have multiple enterprises or investments running, but you're not really in the weeds. You have to help people and teams you trust running a lot of the time, like day to day. And remember, you've mastered leverage and ownership already. You might be involved in mentorship or philanthropy, right? Not just out of altruism, because you understand the value of legacy and networks. So let's go ahead and jump in the ceiling here. So, surprise, there is no ceiling. Level 5, there's essentially no financial ceiling except those imposed by physical reality or personal choice. So at this point, you're your biggest ceiling here. Your net worth can keep going almost on autopilot because your identity and network keep generating opportunities. So think of Elon Musk, a great example here. So if he just walks down the street, it's like everyone knows who he is. And even if he goes to any country in this world with $0 in his pockets, just because of his name, someone will give him money in some way or form. Yeah, so how do you stay at level 5? The main task here is not to kind of self-sabotage. It might sound strange, but if someone at level 5 somehow slips in mindset, maybe through trauma, or something like that, they could make big mistakes. Maybe let's think of Kanye here, right? So Kanye kind of ruined his legacy a little bit here, so he lost a lot of money through that, losing lots of multi-million dollar deals as well. But generally, though, the culture and peer group of level 5 won't let that happen easily. There's also the consideration of passing on the wealth mindset. Many say generational wealth rarely survives past their grandkids because the later generations kind of grow up in comfort and don't really develop the wealth building identity and discipline of their forebears. Indeed, about 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation and 90% by the third. That's a failure to maintain the wealth mindset across generations. Level 5 individuals often work hard to instill similar mindsets in their children or prodigies, or to set up trusts and structures to kind of protect assets from being squandered. So now that we kind of covered the 5 levels here, you guys should probably see a pattern. In each level is a mindset shift that opens up greater financial potential. Most people remain broke or middle class because they never progress past level 1 or level 2. They might dabble in level 3 by maybe investing a little bit, or they might even own a home, a small taste of level 4 equity. But mentally, they're still stuck in survival mode or worker mode, and that's where they're going to stay forever. To climb, you have to change how you think. So now let's kind of review the complete money pyramid. Level 5 here is the identity, is being is equal to money. Level 4 is owner, equity is equal to money. And level 3 is leverage, systems is equal to money. Level 2 is worker, skills is equal to money. Level 1, survival, time is equal to money. So in my opinion, I think most people would be either level, I mean, if you're watching my video, you're probably in level 2 or level 1. If you become overemployed, you'll be maybe in level 3 because now you're kind of leveraging multiple companies to work multiple jobs and have more income, even though you're only one person. So we're kind of hacking the system here, right? So 1 hour now kind of doubles your pay because we're working multiple jobs. So we're making money that we would make in if we have two jobs, we're making money in 2 days worth of money in 1 day. So yeah, it's a little bit of a hack, but that's what we're kind of doing here. And yeah, I hope you guys learned a little bit more about the money pyramid and the levels they are to kind of opening your brain to making more money. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.